This episode is brought to you by the One Love Foundation. Many stories on true crime podcasts start with abusive relationships. The numbers of people affected by relationship abuse are startling. Over 1 in 3 women, nearly 1 in 3 men, and over 1 in 2 trans non-binary people will be in an abusive relationship in their lifetimes. Abusive relationships rarely start with physical abuse. Instead, there are often red flags like manipulation, isolation, belittling, and volatility. Not all unhealthy relationships become abusive, but all abusive relationships start out as unhealthy ones. One Love Foundation, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending relationship abuse and creating a world of healthier relationships, wants to empower you to see the signs of an unhealthy relationship before things go too far. Go to joinonelove.org to see the signs and know how to help a friend who may be in an unhealthy relationship. That's joinonelove.org and learn how to spot the signs of unhealthy and healthy relationship behaviors.
The DATEABLE podcast is an insider's look into modern dating that the Huffington Post calls one of the top 10 podcasts about love and sex. On each episode, we'll talk to real daters about everything from sex parties to sex droughts, date fails to diaper fetishes, and first moves to first loves. I'm your host, Yue Xu, former dating coach turned dating sociologist. You'll also hear from my co-host and producer, Julie Krafchick, as we explore this crazy dateable world.
From dateables to brunchables, welcome to this week's episode of Brunch Talk, brought to you by the DATEABLE podcast. We are your dating Sherpas. You can call us that because we want to Sherpa you through this crazy scene of modern dating and answer your burning questions.
And food wrecks, right? Didn't we get a DM the other day about food wrecks? So merging the brunchables and the dateables fully, you know?
Yeah, pivot. Guess what, y'all? We're going to get into the food space now with Brunch
Food
Talk.
bloggers, yeah.
How fun would that be?
It would be fun. Too bad it's like real saturated market and basically you're impossible to make money unless you became a food critic that people invited in.
Yeah.
That would be incredible if you could like go in. Okay, here's an idea for us.
Okay.
We go to restaurants, like restaurants will hire us to come in, critique their food, and then also critique people that want dating advice all at once.
Yeah. I was thinking we combine the two, that you all can take us to brunch. We'll give you dating advice as we sit through brunch. And at the end, we both critique the food together.
I like that spin. Then
All
we're
in
not
one.
relying on the restaurants. Yes.
Yeah, all in one.
Do you remember we did that once? We did like
Yes.
what was it? A contest. I forget what the contest was. This was a long time ago.
What was that contest?
And then we took the winner and her
Yeah.
friend to brunch. And then we
Yes.
ended up having her friend as a podcast guest later on.
Oh my gosh, that was eons ago.
That was a long time ago. That restaurant that we went to has not existed for like 5 years.
What was the restaurant? I don't even
Hog
remember
and
now.
Rocks. Remember that place?
Oh yeah, no longer.
Yep. It's
no
been
longer
gone
there.
for a long, long time, which
Different lifetime.
dates this. Yes, different lifetime, yet same podcast. Evolve podcast. I wonder, what was Maggie? That was her name, right? I wonder if she's still listening. Shout out to Maggie if you're there.
Okay, back to brunch. Talking about brunch and talking about dating. I do find that as I start eating, I want to talk more. I don't know what it is. It's like an interrogation technique that people can use on me. You know, if someone's like, tell me your ATM PIN code. And if they start feeding me pancakes, I might just give it away.
Well, I think I associate going out to brunch or to dinner as bonding with friends. Like social experiences. Like, of course, I'm there for the food too. I don't want to say I'm not, but there is this like communal feeling of everyone gets together and shares what's going on in their lives. So I think there is that association with food for me, for sure. And I can think back of just like brunch specifically used to be like the go-to that we would kind of go after a night out, air what happened that night, or, you know, what's been going on in your life dating wise. Like it has that connotation. Absolutely.
Yes, those are always a good time. And as we're talking about good times, let's get to this good question.
Yes, let's do it.
This week's question is kind of a dating peripheral question. Not directly related to dating, but definitely heavily integrated. And I'm sure many of you had thought of this before. And the question is, what kind of relationship should you expect with your friend's partner?
Yes. And for more context, most of my friends are in long-term committed relationships, and I'm often the seventh or ninth wheel. My question is, how much of a relationship should I have with my friends' partners? Some of my interactions range from saying, hey, what's up when we're out socially to taking full-on vacations together. What do I do when I don't like my friend's partner? And what is the line, even when I do, that I'm not overstepping, but being cordial?
Top line thoughts to this question would be, it is so dependent on what your friend would like, their ideal relationship that you would have with their partner. I think it's a conversation with your friend, because it's not about you and the friend's partner. You two cannot establish what that relationship could look like. And I think that will give you a really good idea of whether your friend's like, you know what, it would be my dream if you two became besties and be there for me and, you know, have each other on speed dial and just you could just be close friends like on that show Friends. Or your friend could say something like, I'm happy with whatever cordial relationship you two establish. Doesn't have to be that close. I just want all of us to hang out and get along. That's the extent of it. That's cool too. I think there's just people have different expectations. I don't expect my friends to be that close with my partner, but I certainly love it if there is some sort of communication between my partner and my friends, especially if they're trying to surprise me. You know, I like that. Or I really need their help because I need the moral support. That's nice too. But I certainly do not expect that closeness of a friendship.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was this meme that was like, instead of being angry that your friends are in a relationship, look at it like you're getting a new best friend. And, you know, on one side, I like the sentiment of that because I definitely for years was kind of like, oh my God, now I've lost this person. Like when you're single, you're like, I don't have this person now to do things with. And that's not the best mentality at all. A much better way of framing it is like, okay, now I have two people to do things with. Of course, easier said than done. And I don't think that like always you're going to become like besties with the partner. I think some of it, like you said, what does your friend even want? And then also it's just maybe not realistic. Like you didn't pick this person, right? So while they could be good for your partner, it doesn't mean that you two are instantly going to be best friends. It's almost kind of like forcing it. So I do think that there is a middle with all of this, that it's great if you just end up being friends and best friends even. I think best friends maybe is towing a little bit of a weird line, but friends I think is an ideal situation, right? But I don't think it should be forced. It shouldn't be assumed. It should be more if that just organically happens. But also I think hating your friend's partner isn't the best either, because realistically this person isn't going to go anywhere. I definitely have made the mistakes before of, you know, I did this one thing with friends that I regret to this day, that we had an intervention with another friend because we just didn't vibe with her partner. He wasn't doing anything wrong, and we sat her down. We basically told her she could do better. And I think some of it was coming from all three of us were, or maybe two of us were single at the time. One of us was kind of in like a more rocky relationship. So some of it was probably coming from our own shit also. Like I think you don't think that, but a lot of it does root back to your own self, the way you feel about your partner. But also I think some of it was just that he maybe wasn't who we would necessarily gravitate to, but who made us the people to like tell her what to do. I'm so glad that she didn't listen, because they're now married with 2 kids. So clearly she knew herself better, and that's the right way to be. But I guess in a long way, what I'm saying is I think you can't force it, but hating the person and outrightly getting in the way, I think in your head being like, this isn't my favorite person, is still different than having an intervention. That's also going to be an uphill battle.
There's a difference between you having to like your friend's partner versus you having a cordial relationship with your friend's partner.
Yes.
Just remember, you don't have to like them. There's no rule out there that's like you must like your friend's partner, but there has to be some baseline of friendliness when you do hang out together. I certainly, Julie knows this, I certainly don't like many of my friends' partners, but I also don't don't make it a point to tell my friend. There's no need to tell them.
No.
As long as they are making my friend happy, that is all that freaking matters. It doesn't matter if we don't have a friendship. I don't like their personality. I don't like the way they eat their food. Yes, that's true. There's one of them that's just like really annoying the way he eats. But that has nothing to do with me. It's more like as long as they make my friend happy, who am I to get in the way of that?
Yeah, I feel fortunate that I like the majority of my friends' partners. Like, I actually can't think of anyone that I really dislike. Would they necessarily be like my BFFs? Probably not, but I still like them. Like, if anyone was like, let's go on a vacation together, there's no one that I'd be like, oh my God, I can't imagine spending 2 days with this person. I did have this conversation with my partner though, of like, it would be kind of funny to think like, if you were to have like a one-on-one with any of your friends' partners, like what would you talk about?
Yes.
Or like, what would you talk about with my friends?
Yes.
And I think there are some of it that like the common bond really is your friend. And you would get there and you're like, what would I talk about with this person? And I was able to find, the more I like looked, I was able to find things. You know, the part about like being BFFs with the partner, I'm like thinking about it, like, I don't know if I'd really want my partner like texting nonstop with my friends. Like, I think that would be like a little strange.
Yeah, without you in the text.
Yeah, like if you're in the group text, I think that's totally different. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
My partner has like texted some of my friends on their birthdays. Totally cool with that. It's not like it leads, and usually they also have partners, so it's not like in a weird way at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of it's circumstantial, like, is it like a one-time text or even a little engagement after that versus like we're texting all day, every day without you? Like there's a lot of gray area in between those two.
It's all about the context. You know that I love my friend Tina's husband, Chris, and you and I have actually hung out with him without Tina when he was in town. We all hung out as a group, but the context is their house is a revolving door every day. They have people over all the time. They just love being around people. So he is generally just a very social guy and very inclusive, and he welcomes you into his circle of friends. That context makes sense to me. But if it were a friend's partner who's a recluse and, does not do that and is not very social, and we have a one-on-one interaction, that'd just be awkward as hell because the context is not there. And I'd be like, why are we doing this? This is weird.
I think there's also context in your situation that he was in from out of town. She was not there. It'd be fucking weird if you two were going to dinner and she's just at her house, like hanging out, like that would be so weird. And that would never happen, but like that would be weird.
That would be weird.
I would also like if my partner was traveling and like he was close enough with some of my friends to be like, I'm gonna go meet up with them, I would be all for that. Like I think that would be really nice. So I think context is also so important here. Let's hold that thought for a quick message.
This episode is brought to you by the One Love Foundation. The numbers of people affected by relationship abuse are startling. Abusive relationships rarely start with physical abuse. Instead, there are often red flags like manipulation, isolation, belittling, and volatility. Do you know the signs? One Love Foundation, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending relationship abuse, empowers you to see the signs of an unhealthy relationship before things go too far. Visit joinonelove.org and learn to spot the signs of unhealthy and healthy relationship behaviors. This episode is brought to you by Drizzly. Community is always worth celebrating. The same goes for the businesses born within them. And with Drizzly, the #1 app for alcohol delivery, you can find the biggest selection of Black-owned and women-owned beer, wine, and spirits brands. Then get them delivered in under 60 minutes. Now you can sip with purpose and explore brands that are shifting an industry while amplifying voices often left unheard. Find your new favorite drinks while supporting the diverse stories that make them great. Make your memorable moments even more meaningful by choosing brands with intention. Show your support and raise a glass to the spirit of representation and belonging, all while discovering incredible drinks with stories worth celebrating. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com to start sipping with purpose. We are stoked to bring back our 22-day dating app reset challenge just in time for cuffing season. How many times have you uninstalled and installed the apps? How do you know if your profile is doing you justice? Are you frustrated by conversations that go nowhere? Do you sometimes think dating apps are out to get you? Yeah, you're not alone, but online dating doesn't have to be this way. Through our 22-day dating app challenge, you will learn tactics that will help you break through the BS and find incredible partners through the app. We are on a mission to make online dating work for you, and that takes consistency and accountability. Every day for 22 days, you will be given facts, hacks, tips, prompts, and tasks to help you slay online dating. In 22 days, you'll be using the apps like you've never used them before. This dating reset also comes with a comprehensive dating profile review from us. We are about to enter the busiest dating season of the year, so we want to see you thrive during this time. We are offering this for a limited time only from now until the end of October. For just $122, you'll receive this completely self-guided 22-day challenge as well as a comprehensive dating profile review from us. This is an incredible deal because just the dating profile review alone is worth $100. To sign up, just go to findingyourperson.com/apps. Again, that's findingyourperson.com/apps. This situation, I love to get your input on this. So my current partner has a friend who's a girl who has stayed friends with almost all of his serious exes, including the most recent one, which is his ex-wife.
I feel like I know who this girl is, but that's not
yes, you do. She's so close that she's been to their baby showers, to their weddings, all of that. And she's extremely nice to me. And I'm very happy to be friends with her. But it's also knowing that she has this very close friendship with at least 3 of his most recent exes. Thoughts?
I think that's weird. And this is where it gets like dicey. It's like no matter what, you're still like a friend of the person first, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's weird to like have this relationship without the partner unless there was a circumstance that warranted it. And then what happens when you break up? Then it's a little weird. Like I would not like it at all if my friends were having if my friends were like hanging out with my ex like regularly. I'd be so upset. Like I don't even know what I would do in that situation. So I mean, it's like in sentiment, it's nice that she was able to maintain that, but I think it's a little over the line too.
Yeah. And I think it just depends on how you define these friendships and how you define this is such a bad word, but who owns that relationship. So I know in breakups, people get actually kind of territorial about their friends.
Yeah.
Right? My ex, they should not be talking to my ex because they're my friends. And I'm not talking to my ex's friends because those are her friends or his friends. So I get that. I get a little territorial about my friends as well. To me, I'm still trying to work through this. It has nothing to do with my partner. It's like, I want to deepen my friendship with this person. And she does listen to this podcast. So this is, yes, we can have this conversation at another time. And I really enjoy being around her. But there is a part of me that's like, I don't want to be part of this ex club that you're going to befriend.
This is why this topic is tricky though, because there's always a barrier to like making it a more substantial relationship, unless you're like the person you're describing and you're just like, nope, fuck it. I'm just going to be friends with who I want to be friends with.
Yeah.
There is a good mentality about that. I don't want to say that's not a good way to go about doing it, but I think the majority, there's still this feeling like, okay, if my friend and their partner were to break up tomorrow, would I actually hang out with this person? And most times, 9 out of 10, the answer is no. So I do think like back to the top line question here of like, how much is too much? Like, I don't think that I think all of it's relative to you and your friend's partner, how much you enjoy this person. So there's not a black and white answer. But then I do think some of it is like thinking about like, okay, what happens like if this was to end? Mm-hmm. Like, how would I kind of react with that?
Have you ever had an ex's friend reach out to you after the breakup?
No. My ex wanted to like give me his friend's contact info, and he wanted your contact info, which is ironic because you guys actually never met. So I don't know why he chose you, because like he knew like all my other friends, but he chose you, Yue.
I feel so special.
Weird because he literally met every other one of my friends.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason, he chose you. And I was like, I don't really need to do that because I don't need to put like Yue in this position. Like the sentiment was like, so we could like check up on each other and understand how we were doing. But I don't think you need to like get the other person involved. necessarily. Like that felt weird to me. I'm like, if we're going to check in on each other, like, let's just check in on each other. We don't need to like have these other people like involved in this that quite frankly, we're not involved in the relationship to begin with. So I think there's a lot of that that's happening. But I think like you're more asking like as like a friendly acquaintance, just like popping in to say hi. No.
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
I just remember years ago with my ex of 5 years, the one that proposed, after we broke up, his close friend messaged me, I think it was actually on LinkedIn, and asked me if Asian pussies were a different color.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's actually debatably worse than the just checking in on your partner. By far, way worse.
On LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure it was on LinkedIn.
Oh my God, that's terrible. That's terrible. I think that raises a really good point too, is like, what is this friendship that you're actually trying to get? Like, I feel like I could see people being like, you know, and I kind of feel like in a way, some of my friends have done this, but not in a bad way. Like there was a time that we were like all out and it was like me, my partner, and like 3 of my single friends. And they were asking him to like look at their profiles as like a male point of view. And I think like in that context, it was fine. But if they're like messaging him all the time, questions about it, that would be too much. And I almost feel like what you're saying with that comment, it's like, he's like, oh, who could I ask? Oh yeah, Yue. Like, you know, like you don't need to be like the subject matter expert for this person.
No, I think he was being a dick.
Well, that too.
I think he was trying to be a douchebag and trying to get a rise out of me because it was not the best of breakups, but it had nothing to do with him.
That's true. I mean, that's a whole other story of like, where is this coming from? I think, you know, the part about, let's maybe go back to the top line of this. Like, how much should you be communicating? How much should you be going on trips together? Like, and then also, what do you do when you really don't like this person? I mean, I think the communication, we kind of address this of what feels right in the context. Is your friend, like the person that kind of connects you to, involved when it makes sense for them to? The last thing you want to do is be doing things like behind their back that feel weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think group texting, hanging out if like you're visiting somewhere or that person is not present. I think it'd be weird if they were out of town though, if you two suddenly like started hanging out. That's also weird. Like, think about it like also like if you were in a relationship, like what would you want?
Yeah.
Like, and not that what you want is always necessarily what they want, but at least you could be like, would I want them like texting without me? Like, that's kind of weird, you know? Like, I'd say that's first and foremost. In terms of like the vacationing together, like I loved when my friends in couples, even when I was the 7th or 9th wheel or whatever this person was, invited me along anyways. And I enjoyed the company of my friends' partners. Like I, you know, knew them well, that it didn't feel like I was that third wheel or whatever. So I think like, yeah, invite yourself to trips or make it clear that you want to be included. I think if it's just the 3 of you, then it also depends on the dynamic. Like I definitely have like a friend that the 3 of us used to go out for dinners and do stuff, and it wasn't weird at all. And I think the thought was like, okay, when she has that partner, the 4 of us can do stuff. So I think that's a different mentality. And I don't think you're doing anything like wrong by wanting to be there. And your friends might want you to be there too. Like, I think just looking at it less like, should I be doing this? But more just what feels right for the relationship, and having conversations with your friends is never a bad thing.
Your priority is your friendship with your friend. And then your friendship with their partner stems from that friendship, right? So that should dictate how you should carry on a friendship with your partner. And if you truly do not like your friend's partner, just don't say anything. Just don't. As long as they make your friend happy, just know that that's all that matters. And you don't have to like everybody. It's okay.
Yeah, and you can find more one-on-one time with your friend. I think something I try to do in a relationship, because I was years of being that third wheel, is when it's the 3 of us, I'll ask like, would you prefer to do one-on-one, or like, do you mind if my partner comes? Because I don't want to like impose all the time and not have that individual time. So I always try to like give people like kind of an out if they want to choose not that. And my partner doesn't care. Like I've told him this too, like, and it doesn't stem from like them not liking him. It's more just, I I know how it feels to sometimes want to spend time with your friend, and then you have a third person along. That does change the dynamic. Regardless, even if they love this person so much, it will change the way the vibe flows, for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks again for sending in this question. For all of you, send in your questions. You can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast. We try to answer all of the questions you send in. And if you've already sent in a question before, keep sending them in. It's okay if you are a repeat question asker. We're all about that.
There's enough to go around. And if you have the question, probably someone else does too. So thanks again. And we'll see you next week for Brunch Talk.
Bye.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. Want to continue the conversation? First, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the handle @DateablePodcast. Tag us in any post with the hashtag StayDateable, and trust us, we look at all those posts. Then head over to our website, dateablepodcast.com. There you'll find all the episodes as well as articles, videos, and our coaching service with vetted industry experts. You can also find our premium Why series, where we dissect, analyze, and offer solutions to some of the most common dating conundrums. We're also downloadable for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Overcast, Stitcher Radio, and other podcast platforms. Your feedback is valuable to us, so don't forget to leave us a review. And most importantly, remember to stay dateable.
Hi, welcome to your neighborhood pharmacy.
Hi, I've got a prescription for diabetes test strips. How much is the copay?
Well, it depends on your type of commercial insurance and factoring in your yearly spend, subtracting the deductibles, also depending on your monthly allowance.
Why can't there be a better option?
Or you could try Contour Next test strips. A 35 count's only $19.99 over the counter and proven to be highly accurate. Go to contournext.com/radio to see if over-the-counter strips are a more affordable option for you.
I think I'll try Contour Next.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches.
Urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.